G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website and YouTube channel Kangaroo Court of Australia. Now, I'm about to show you two videos, both in relation to Alan Jones and Chopper Read on the Kerry-Anne Kenley midday show back in 1998, where Chopper Read called out Alan Jones in relation to getting arrested in a toilet in London back in the 80s. Now, the first video is Alan Jones and Chopper Read on the Kerry-Anne Kenley show, and the second video is Media Watch back in 1998, who covered it all. Now, the background to Chopper Read and Alan Jones being on the midday show with Kerry-Anne Kenley is the fact that a few days before, Chopper Read was on an ABC show, which was hosted by a lady called Elle McFeast. I think her real name's Libby Gore, but stage name, so to speak, is Elle McFeast. And Chopper Read, who was a well-known criminal and murdered people, was on there joking about killing people, including putting someone in a cement mixer. Now, a few days later, Kerry-Anne Kenley on the midday show had Alan Jones on there to discuss how bad it was for the ABC to platform Chopper Read, give him a forum where he could joke about murdering people. And while Alan Jones was on there, Chopper Read phoned in, but it was a setup, as it turns out, which you'll find out in the second video, Media Watch, who exposed it. And the first video goes for 3 minutes. It's worth watching the whole lot because they talk about how wrong it is for the ABC to platform Chopper Read and give him a forum where he can joke about murdering people. But the same can be said, and I've said it, and a lot of people have said it, is that the fact that Alan Jones has been platformed by the old media for decades, where he's been given a forum to spew his garbage, while in the background he's a sexual predator. And we all have known about this for decades. And it was even raised by Chopper Read in the TV program back in 1998. And you'll see Kerry-Anne Kenley pull up Chopper Read and cut him off. Well, she should have done the same to Alan Jones. Anyhow, let's watch his first video. It goes for 3 minutes, then I'll comment more.
Shouldn't be out of jail to get any public exposure.
Well, so what? Bloke that got put into the cement mixer was a heavy-duty heroin dealer, right? He'd killed more people than I'd ever kill in my wildest dreams.
But I'm sorry, Chopper, is it good enough to say you only kill bad guys? Is that an excuse?
That's not even the issue. That's not even the issue. There are law enforcement authorities in this country who are responsible for dealing with heroin dealers. It is not the responsibility of any Australian citizen to think that he can go and chop people up and murder them because they deal in heroin. Otherwise, we'd have the law of the jungle prevailing and everyone would be the custodian of the law. I mean, that is a nonsense. If we turn the society to a situation where people please themselves about how they deal with those whom they don't like, then who is to be the next victim?
Well, people who throw stones better make sure they don't live in glass houses, Alan.
Well, we're not talking about anyone living in glass houses, Chopper.
Yeah, well, I never got arrested in a public toilet in London.
Yeah.
Oh, Chopper, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm now pulling the plug on this. I actually have no desire to listen to anything else that you have to say. Thank you very much for calling. That's as polite as I can possibly be. And I think the whole issue in terms of violence on television, I'd let you wrap it up. Maybe we can talk about the Boy from Oz show after this.
Well, I mean, that's the point. In relation to the final comment, of course, by Chopper Read, I guess that indicates the kind of person we're dealing with. Justice takes its course in all things, and you don't dignify those sorts of things by any kind of remark. But I'd just simply say this, that there are two sides have already been evidenced about Australia in the last 15 minutes on this program. One side is the exciting capacity of young people to do outstanding things, and we don't salute that often enough. Your program does. The other is to deal in the macabre and the circumstances whereby we somehow are entertained by a whole culture and a spectre of violence. That happens via stabbing and all the rest of it. And I think decent people out there are absolutely horrified by that sort of behaviour. And I'm simply saying to them, they should maintain that sense of anxiety and horror. I think the tide is turning. I think eventually where New York could achieve a zero attitude towards tolerance, a zero tolerance towards crime, they wouldn't tolerate anything. I think we are moving in that direction where people are going to themselves say to those people who make the rules, look, we must make them in support of the law-abiding citizens, we must make them in support of those people who oppose violence, and all we do, in whatever way we're doing it, should be directed towards that end. And that's why these people shouldn't be given a forum.
Now, the second video is Media Watch back in 1998, and they lay out the full background to how Chopper Read got onto the midday show, etc. They mostly focused on Elle McFeast, Libby Gore, her real name, and her TV show, but then at the end of it, they tied in with the Alan Jones and Chopper Read on the midday show with Kerry-Anne Kenley. So let's watch that.
as viewers foamed at the appearance of a tired and emotional killer, Mark Chopper Reed, for a bit of live mud wrestling with Miss Elle McFeast.
Appalled.
Offended community standards.
Lapse of judgment.
Outrage.
And those were only the criticisms coming from that well-regarded taste czar, the Minister for Communications, Senator Alston. The scribe added,
Unfunny, probably a clumsy grab for publicity.
there are a couple of issues here that we might explore on a night when we are significantly fixated by your ABC. First of all, is what happened last Monday night so dreadful? There was, after all, an audience that found the rawness, the wildness of it great viewing. This was not another tame TV chat. And who's to say that from time to time a bit of bad taste is not beneficial for ABC viewers?
When Chopper and his mates are through, sometimes there's a little bit of a mess. Is that right, Chop? Bit of a mess when you're through?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Well, that's right, you know, if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing properly. And sometimes the person who is the mess isn't really in a fit state to clean themselves up.
The interview, if that can be the general description, was also an unabashed piece of exploitation of a netherworld lowlife for the titillation of middle-class ABC sensibilities. Certainly Mr. Chopper himself felt exploited, if he's to be believed.
They kept cracking these Chopper jokes. I felt like an idiot. I felt like a freak on show.
Chopper was the first to admit that he'd become over-lubricated at the ABC's expense.
You get a bloke with silver teeth, no ears, 6'2" with a #1 crew cut, and I think they, ABC staffers, were a bit frightened to tell me to stop drinking.
That puts paid to the strange claim by Miss McFeast and her producers that
Reed was not drunk, but rather putting on an act or overexcited.
secondly, the issue of the ABC outsourcing its programs comes into play here. McFeast is made by an independent company, Eastway Communications. Would any of the bad taste have occurred, and would there have been significantly greater editorial control if this had not been an outsourced program? Apparently not, according to Mr. Dennis Watkins, Auntie's commissioning editor of comedy. He said that the McFeast performance was
Enormously professional.
But Senator Alston thought differently.
I made it plain to Mr. Johns that it seemed to me that here was a lack of editorial control, and as I understand it, the ABC concedes it as an error of judgment.
The most pressing issue in all of this is whether the highly rewarded Miss McFeast handled the Chopper interview with due skill.
So if you had some advice for Chopper, it would be to do it in the bathroom, eh?
Well, this is right, yes, and encourage all his friends to do the same.
Right. Chopper, do you think you can manage that? Chop!
Yeah, what do you want?
Will you do it in the bathroom next time?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
It's pretty clear that she went for the cheapest of thrills. But it was McFeast who dedicatedly prodded at Chopper like a child teasing a wild animal. She wanted to entertain us with Chopper's gruesome soul. Possibly it was because she found Chopper to be
A fascinating person.
For my money, I think it unlikely that Roy and HG would have touched him. Still actually hugged him. Like Chopper Reed, the Club Buggery boys have been doing a stretch in the green room, waiting for an opportunity to appear. And appear they will from April the 4th, for only 10 shows compared to Miss McFeast's 30 outsourced programs. And look at the cost of Miss McFeast's extravaganza.
The figures reveal the ABC will pay independent production company Eastway Communications a total of $3.2 million to produce 30 hours of live McFeast television. With a weekly budget of just over $100,000, the outsourced McFeast project will cost the ABC $20,000 a week more than the similarly formatted Club Buggery.
In fact, ABC management threw an extra $20,000 a week at McFeast when she threatened to go to Channel 9. And when you think of the footy show, Channel 9 would probably be a cosier home for her. Although we have to remember that Mr. Packer Sr. did pull the plug unceremoniously on Doug Mulray when he moved into his blue period. Family values and all that sort of thing. One solution to the current $4 million shortfall in the ABC budget could be to give Elle McFeast the Chopper. But of course, the factor underlying all this fuss and fury is the fact that Chopper Reed is a freak who's been turned by the media into an object of fascination, Jill Singer, writing in The Hun, warned us.
Prepare yourselves for chopper mania. Celebrity thug.
And away they went.
Now the self-confessed killer who once attempted to abduct a judge says he's finished with his life of crime, but that doesn't mean he's finished talking about it.
I smiled at them. I was very polite, very courteous. Yes, sir, no, sir, 3 bags full. They said, you can't do this, and anyway, I did it anyway.
And Channel 10 News.
What's life hold from here on in?
Oh, you know, who knows, mate? You wake up in the morning, the wrong song comes to the radio, anything could happen.
And the Channel 9 marketing machine with Uncle Ray staking the high moral ground.
Rachel Friend went to Tasmania for this exclusive interview with Chopper Reid, and I should point out that no money was involved. This program does not pay criminals.
And speaking of high moral ground, morality is gushing through the corridors of Channel 9.
We've decided not to go ahead with the interview with Chopper Reid live on this program. I guess it's what you call a value judgment, but we took the high moral ground. There was a lot of heated debate about it. We might be wrong, but the question remains, I think, the question to be asked is, should a convicted killer and torturer be given publicity or not? To discuss the issue, we welcome broadcaster Alan Jones.
Alan Jones, the gatekeeper of moral values in Struggle Street.
Well, it could only happen on the ABC, and taxpayers fund that sort of stuff, and I think responsible and decent Australians who are taxpayers find that whole treatment absolutely horrific and appalling.
But how long did the high moral ground last? About 3.5 minutes.
If we turn the society to a situation where people please themselves about how they deal with those whom they don't like, then who is to be the next victim?
Yeah, well, people who throw stones better make sure they don't live in glass houses, Alan.
Well, we're not talking about anyone living in glass houses, Chopper.
Yeah, well, I never got arrested in a public toilet in London.
Yeah.
Oh, Chopper, I'm sorry. I'm now pulling the plug on this. I actually have no desire to listen to anything else that you have to say. Thank you very much for calling. That's as polite as I can possibly be.
A truly magical television moment. But was Chopper's moment on Kerry Ann's show such a surprise? The Sydney Daily Telegraph seemed to think not.
Sources at Nine's Hobart affiliate station Win TV said not only was the call pre-arranged, it was done from a room in their Newtown studios.
The suggestions that Chopper's unexpected appearance was a setup was hotly denied by Channel 9. Nonetheless, Kerry Ann was well and truly bitten on the posterior in precisely the same manner as Miss McFeast.
Channel 9, in criticising the ABC, then doing the same thing, has hit the top of the ratings in hypocrisy.
There's 2 key points to take out of that. Firstly, how they criticise ABC and that for platforming Chopper Reid, but they do exactly the same for Alan Jones. And 2, when the media jump up and down, oh, we didn't know, no one knew, there was no evidence. Well, it was on national TV back in 1998. Originally, when Alan Jones was charged, and I think it was 1988, he did interviews with the Current Affair. It was all on the front page of the papers here in Australia, so it was well known. And it's been well known for decades. And then Chris Masters wrote in the book Jonestown, which I've quoted from numerous times, where he sent love letters to schoolboys. Anyhow, I've been reporting on Alan Jones for the last 10 years or more, and I've written numerous articles about him. I've done some videos recently, so I'll put another video or 2 below this video in the description box on YouTube so you can watch those videos. And please hit the like and subscribe button and notification button. And please share this video on social media. And Kangaroo Court of Australia's independent media. I publish a website and a YouTube channel, and I'm 100% crowdfunded from viewers like yourself. So please support my PayPal account or Patreon account. You can donate any amount, $3, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30, $40, $50 a month. Whatever suits your budget, it all helps out in a big way. Or you can do one-off donations. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.